Come with me to a magical place where being labeled the Pork Queen is a compliment, where being nice is just a way of life, and where all leaders of the free world must pass through. Welcome to Iowa. Whether you're a current Iowan, an Iowa expat, or an Iowan at heart, this show is for you. This is the Iowa Podcast. Real Iowans, real talk, no drama. I'm Justin Brady in the Brady Dental Care Studio, and today I'm joined by Sam Bernabe, the president and general manager of the Iowa Cubs. Sam, thanks for coming in the studio. I appreciate it.
It's great to be here. Thanks, Justin.
We're going to talk a lot about Iowa, a lot about the Cubbies, and of course a lot about the park. I mean, there's a lot of history. Before we do that, though, everybody, week after week, we bring you fascinating Iowans into the studio. If you like what you're hearing, give the show 5 stars. Make sure to share it with 20,000 people, maybe. We always appreciate that. So, Sam, thanks for coming on the show.
Sure.
I got to ask, there's a big number this year, right? And that's the reason you're in here. There's a big number. Would you like to share what that number? There's something significant here.
Sure. This is my 40th year in the game, and 40th year in Des Moines, and 40th year. I guess it's not my 40th year as a general manager, but I started with the ball club in 1983 and started as an intern and became a full-time salesperson, and that was led to becoming the general manager in November of 1986. And then Michael Gartner bought the team from the Granquist estate when Mr. Granquist passed away. And that was we closed October of 99, and that's when they made me the president of the ball club and allowed me some ownership in the team. And
wow, okay.
We've since sold the team again to Diamond Baseball Holdings.
That was last year, yeah.
Right, which is tied to the Silver Lake portfolio of investing that they do, capitalists, that investments that they make in a wide variety of things. And so minor league baseball is something they want to do, and they picked us first when they decided to put their stable of teams together. They're up to 16 teams, and eventually will be in the 40 to 50 range at some point. So that's
really cool.
Kind of how things have evolved over the last 40 years.
So intern?
Yep.
You started out 83. So here's what's interesting. I turned 40 in June. And so that probably makes you feel old when people tell me like my age in relation to a younger person. I always feel old. But so you started as an intern and then worked your way all the way up to president and general manager of the Cubbies, which is incredible.
Right.
What was it? Okay, so back when you were an intern, what was the job? I got to know, what was the job when you were an intern? What were you doing? Were you cleaning toilets?
It was everything. There was only 5 full-time people in the ball club at that time, and
wow.
The ball club didn't have a general manager. They had a director of operations. Then they had assistant general manager, but they didn't have a general manager at the time. And so they brought me in as an intern. I was looking for an internship. I was a graduate student at Western Illinois University, and I went down to the winter meetings, and I ran into Mr. Granquist coming out of a bar in the hotel that I was going into, and I knew who he was. He didn't know who I was, and we had some mutual ties being from Des Moines. I knew him well enough to know that I could introduce myself, and he said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm looking for an internship." And he said, "Why don't you come back to Des Moines?" And so I did. And it was nice and convenient because I grew up here. I'm a Valley High School graduate.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. And so my girlfriend, then now my wife, was teaching here in the Des Moines area. And so I could come home and live at home, live with my dad at the time. But the internship led into a full-time job, and here I am.
Was there ever a point where you were like, this job stinks, I don't want to be here, I'm going to go somewhere else? Was there ever a point in the early stages when you're like interning? And
yeah, it was never about the job. It was about what I was making. I mean, I just, I started as an intern. I was making $250 a month. And at some point you got to make enough money to pay your bills. And I understand the internships as they were, but I only went from $250 a month to about $350 a month when they hired me full time. So, there were, in the first couple of years, there was a time or two when I looked at the one ads on Sunday morning to see there's got to be something that, pays me a little bit more so I can cover my bills. But I loved the beginning of my career doing what I was doing, and you did everything from cleaning the park to getting the hot dogs ready to putting the merchandise store, the little novelty stand that we had, the shacks that we had to sell pennants and helmets out of, and the ticket office needed to be ready to go, and you had to have the locker rooms ready and take care of the umpires, and so it was really a great experience from that standpoint. It was, you got to do everything there was to do in order to set up the operation on a daily basis. In the off season, as we got into that, there was selling season tickets and selling billboards and putting promotions together and trying to figure out how to put bodies in the ballpark. And in the old stadium, it was very, very difficult to do that. We had to teach people how to come to the stadium. Yeah. And so we began to have some success toward the end of the 80s and realized that we were running out of space to put bodies in the park, and then the expenses of the operation were beginning to outpace the revenues. And so we talked to the city and it came to put a formula together to get into a new ballpark. And so in the winter of 91 for opening day 92, we were able to put a new stadium up, and that's what stands there now. Yeah, and we're going to talk about that as well. But it's really interesting because I grew up, my understanding of baseball and actually being at the park was from the principal park, which of course then was Sec Taylor Stadium. We'll get into that. But when I was younger, so that was my first experience with baseball. And I, like every, I think, Iowa kid, probably assumed we're a smaller rural town, Principal Park, at then that point, Sec Taylor Stadium, probably not that great. It's, it's a small park. We're kind of a lame town. That's what I thought when I was a kid. But after I've gone to a bunch of different parks across the country and you come back to Principal Park, you're kind of struck with we kind of have it really good here. I think a lot of people who have not gone to parks outside of Iowa, outside of Principal Park, don't really understand how nice and how, dare I say, luxurious the park is. Do you think a part of that is because you've worked pretty much every job in the park and you still kind of understand like the trenches? Is that a reason for that, or is there another reason for that? Well, I think there's certainly some validity to that. I think the way that we operate, and from a business philosophy standpoint, that I drill everybody every day into the commonality of safe, clean, and fun. If it's not the safest place to come to, or if it's not the cleanest place to come to, then you don't have to worry about having any fun because nobody's coming. Right. So it's got to be That's so true. The park has got to be in the best shape it can be in lieu of how old it is. And I don't think people take it for granted, but I think they are surprised when they can compare and see what other cities have in a comparable situation. Right. Not only the way the park looks, the size of the stadium, the location of the stadium is spectacular. I mean, it could not be in a better spot in the community. No kidding. We're literally 15 minutes from everything from home plate in any direction. So, that's a great situation to have. Now that MLK runs through the whole south side of downtown, it gives us great access from just about every direction. The south side is accessible to it. The north side is accessible to it. So, it's just a great position and a great park for the downtown area to have. We sat down there a long time by ourselves. The stadium the home plate has been in that spot since 1947. What? Really? And so the stadium has, built its way around, the community built around the stadium to get to the point where it's at now. But the new stadium was somewhat of a catalyst to get things going with the area down there. And it was long before the Second Street Bridge was built. It takes you into the south side, and coming from the south side, long before MLK, there were lots of old warehouses down in there. It almost had a little bit of a stigma to it that people oftentimes would say, "Oh, you're down in the warehouse district," But there was never any issues or never any problems. And then Court Avenue kind of became a thing and started to develop a little bit more than just the old. Nacho Mama's was on the corner. Yes, I remember Nacho Mama's. Julio's and great jazz club. Jeff Aiden had a great bar there. Spaghetti Works was one of the original spots. Johnny's was there, but other than that, there really wasn't much there. And so, as things began to develop, the ballpark was kind of a gas can for that to get things going. And suddenly the Brown Camp lofts are created. And, it is crazy. How everything's developed around there. And if you're in the park, for those that don't know, we're obviously
Principal Park's located in Des Moines, Iowa, capital city. So if you're actually in the park, in the seats, from various angles, you can see basically the field frames the Iowa Capitol right in the background.
Yeah, it was better framed before I put the batter's eye up that I had to put up in order to accommodate Major League Baseball and their request for a larger batting backdrop.
So they can see the ball coming. Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
My team is one of the minor league leaders in runs scored and offense this year. So I'm taking full credit for that because we put a new batter's eye up that it's easier to see the ball is what the boys tell me. But that aside, it's we had to do that in lieu of the safety of to protect the players.
It's a requirement, right?
It's a requirement.
Yeah, from MLB.
And so it has changed the view
right.
from certain perspectives within the ballpark. But about 80% of the stadium, you can still wander around and sit about any seat and get the same view of the Capitol over their outfield wall.
And you can put it on a reverse garage clicker.
Yeah.
So it just comes up in between with the timer clock.
Mr. Gartner always said that he'd like to move the Capitol to the right a little bit, but it's against his nature being left a Democrat. He says I'd be hard pressed to move the Capitol too far to the right. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, Michael always made a nice had a nice story with that.
If we ever get the governor in here, I'll ask. I'll see if I can put in a good word for you.
Governor Reynolds she would have some fun with that as well, I'm sure.
Oh my word! So I mean, yeah, as you indicated, there have been quite a few changes with the ballpark over the history. Now, did it used to be? So you said the home plate has not moved since 1947.
Right.
But the team has roots back to 1887. So where was the park before that?
Well, there's been a couple of different places around the downtown area that the first night game was played in Des Moines, Iowa.
Wow.
The first professional night game was played in 1929, and it was played over by Birdland. I think it was Pioneer Field or Pioneer Park at the time. Kind of where North High School, that area where North High School is, that's where Pioneer Park was.
Really?
And so that, it goes back to the early 1900s, having baseball in the downtown community where it's, we were the Des Moines Demons, we were the Des Moines Bruins, we were the Des Moines Undertakers, we were the Des Moines Insurance Men, we were the Cubs. I mean, there have been 15 different names of the team over the years. We've stuck with the Cubs now for quite some time, and I think that logo and our affiliation with the Chicago Cubs is third longest running minor league affiliate.
Really?
Out of the 120 that are there. So, we've been with them a long time.
Wow. So, as we know, at Sec Taylor Stadium, that was finished. When was that actually finished? The new park, kind of somewhat new.
Well, as Principal Park stands there now, the stadium was knocked down the fall of 1991. We built the new one on top of it that winter and opened opening day 1992. So we knocked an old park down and built a new one in 208 days.
Right. Oh, 208 days. So, okay. So 91, 92, you build a new park, and most Iowans are familiar with what happened the very next year, which is the flood of 93.
Right.
And I know that the park suffered a lot of damage. Can you kind of give us an overview of how long it took to kind of recover after that? How much of a season did we actually have in the new park when it was done until the time it flooded out?
Well, 92 was a full season. We opened opening day 92. And so it was a full season. And then 93, the flood was in the middle of July or the first part of July. So we were, a season and a half in, and we didn't really have that much damage to the stadium. It just got wet. The city came right in. Once the water receded, the city came right in with disaster teams, and it was a cleanup. It wasn't so much a damage repair type of thing. It was just river water, and but we had to clean and sanitize everything. And ironically, the team left to go on the road the day before the city flooded. The day before they shut the water down in the city, and we got back 2 days after the city turned the water back on.
Really?
It was a long road trip. In fact, I raised all kinds of craziness with the league because they put me on the road. When the schedule came out the year prior to the 93 season, I was all upset because you never want to be gone more than 10 days maximum.
It's exhausting, yeah.
You know what the fans to forget about you in the middle of the season. And so I was all wound up within the league meeting because they had us out like 14 days or 15 days. And it was kind of tied around the All-Star break. And I said, you got to change this. And they didn't. And so we got to the end of the year and everybody reminded me, because we didn't miss any games at all. We were gone the entire time. It was that road trip that we were gone so long that everything fit into that slot. And so all my colleagues reminded me at the winter meetings the following year that how much hell I raised about everything because we were gone so long. And as it turned out, I didn't miss any games and we didn't have any cancellations because of the 93 floods.
So Iowa, you mentioned a lot of teams actually. I was familiar with the Iowa Oaks. Wasn't there a period where it was called like the Des Moines Hawkeyes or something, or was that some iteration of the field?
Sure could have been. There's been
so many.
15 or 18 different names, I think.
So the Iowa Oaks is that the most recent one, or what's the significance there?
It was the Iowa Oaks beginning in 1969. There was no baseball in the park from 1962 through 1968, and then 1969, the American Association AAA at that point was resurrected, and they put together an 8-team league, and Des Moines was one of the spots, and they named the team the Iowa Oaks in 1969, and it remained the Iowa Oaks until 1981.
Right, and so that's the significance of whenever you see the Iowa Oaks referenced. Right. I know Court Avenue Brewery has an Iowa Oaks. Is it an ale, I think, that they sell at the park?
Yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah, that's the significance of that. You also have this really unique relationship with the city of Des Moines that is a little unusual in a good way. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Well, it's just a great partnership. I mean, it's the thing you need to have in our game is you need to have a great partnership with your city, with the landlord, the entity that owns your stadium, and we have one of the best relationships in all of baseball, major league or minor league. You need to have a great relationship with your affiliate, which, we've been with the Cubs, tied to them since 1982, 1981 actually. And then you need to have a great relationship with your business community and your fans. And, we have the best. I mean, there just isn't, we wouldn't be able to be in this town if we didn't have one of those. If one of those three fell apart, we would be in trouble. We have to have them all, because we're not, in fact, we're the smallest AAA market.
Really?
Of the 30 cities.
Wow.
Overall. Okay. So Reno rivals us a little bit on that, but overall the city of Des Moines is easily the smallest city with a AAA team.
Really?
But then the metro area swells a little bit more, and so we're a little bit bigger against the demographic. But because it's AAA baseball and because the expenses are as high as they are, and the revenue share that we have to provide to Major League Baseball, it would be tough to be anything lower level at the AAA level. To be a lower level club in this town would have to be the only way you could do it. Again, season ticket base is solid. The corporate base is unbelievable. We have lots of suite holders. We have 75 dates of constant promotion because our sponsors like being a part of that. The fans react well to the things we do. The city just does all they can in order to keep the facility as top-notch as it can be. We partner with them on a lot of that kind of stuff. And then the Cubs do the best they can to put together the best team they can. And once in a while it falls apart. Once in a while it really excels, and everything else is kind of in the middle. So
explain how that works, because I don't understand this stuff at all. So the city of Des Moines is essentially like they own the park, and then you kind of lease it from them. Is that kind of how that works?
Not kind of. That's what happens.
That's exactly what happens.
Yep. I have a lease with them. I have control of the park all year round. My lease currently runs through 2047, I think. So it's been a long relationship, and will continue to be long after I'm gone out of the operation. It'll be there for a long time.
You got 40 more years in you think?
Yeah, I don't. No, I don't have 40. I don't have 40 of anything in me, I don't think.
Okay. So I am a little curious. Is it currently, I had it in my notes, I don't know if this is right. Is it currently 11,500 seats in the stadium?
We listed 11,000.
Okay.
That's comfortable.
Yeah.
I've had as many as 15.5 in the park for a baseball game.
15. How'd you do that? How'd you get 15.5?
Well, it swells really well. We have good standing room possibilities. We have, we've got a 23,000 square foot mezzanine level above the grandstand. We've got a deck area that has great standing room in it. We've got lots of places to put lots of people. and still be comfortable in the stadium. But 15.5 is as much as I've had for a baseball game. I've had 20,000 for a concert, and we put 9,000 people on the field for that. So
Wow.
that's as big as the park has gotten.
What are some notable changes that like most people probably aren't aware of? Maybe there's nothing there, but I always kind of like to ask these prying questions a little bit. Are there any notable changes to the field or the team that most people are just kind of unaware of? Maybe like you can pull that out at Iowa Trivia Night and kind of impress anybody. What are those things?
Well, from the change standpoint, the big one for us right now is getting up to speed and compliance with Major League Baseball relative to what the requirements are to be an affiliated team. So there are new standards on facility standards that we have to meet, and the city of Des Moines is currently under it's about almost a $10 million renovation and rebuild of our locker room facilities and our training facilities. We've done half of the work in this last off season, and we'll do the other half this next off season. So we partnered with them to a certain extent to get that done, and then the city has recently finished a master plan for the stadium that it's about $65 million worth of work, which would renovate and rehab and change the look a little bit to, bring the stadium up to new standards, and so that's probably over a 5 or 6 year period that the beginnings of that stuff will all happen. And it's money, though. You got to find the money and do the right thing to put that together to not make it be too big of a burden.
And is this stuff you do in the off season? I'm assuming, and you just do it piecemeal, like you add on here and there.
Yeah, you don't want to. We don't want to try to do something that's going to interrupt the business,
right?
Or at least have as little interruption as we can. So there are things like outside the stadium that will probably be done year round. That we'll just have to work around as it's being put together. But the city of Des Moines would like it to be a downtown park destination with all the people living in downtown.
Yeah.
One of their goals is to really have it become a 365 day a year park stop. And it really is that now anyway. Some more amenities that will probably come with being a downtown park is something that they'd like to do. But with the bike trails the way they are, we're at the confluence of the rivers, and we're also at the confluence of all the trails, and you can go in any direction for 40 to 50 miles, and I don't think you cross a major street anywhere coming out of the trails out of the ballpark. So there's a lot of people that originate out of down there to get on the trails and ride for a long time.
When you say new standards that MLB is rolling out, like what is that? What do we not have that they're requiring? You said locker rooms. Is that like a training facilities? These are like requirements that they're forcing us to do. What does that mean exactly?
I wouldn't.
I don't want to use that in a bad way.
Forcing is a little harsh.
Right,
but
that's probably the wrong word.
It's bringing everybody's facility up to current day needs, and then some. So you want to be out ahead of it. I don't want to sound like an old man, but I'm going to say, in my day or when I first started with the club, I had a roster of 23 players. I had a manager, I had a pitching coach, and a trainer. Today I have a manager, I have a pitching coach, I have a bench coach, I have another bench coach. We have 2 trainers, we have a nutritionist, we have a video coordinator, we have a weight trainer, a strength and conditioning guy, and that's just my immediate staff to go along with a roster of 28 players and generally 2 or 3 guys that are on either rehab or on the injured list that aren't playing but with the team. So my roster and my locker room has swollen immensely.
So it's like more space and more resources that you don't have currently.
That's it. Yeah, basically that's it. And then having the up to speed, up to date training facility, the equipment that's new and the things that the guys are using in order to improve their game. And we're here to make the Chicago Cubs better. And so anything that we do is directly related to getting their players ready to play in Chicago. And so the equipment standards change all the time, and a lot of those things get bigger. We need more of them. We need more medical, the training area. We need nutrition area. We don't have currently. We have no area for cooking or food prep.
And you mean for the players?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Got it. Yeah.
Yeah. So, there's just a lot of
interesting.
things
I guess I never even thought of that.
Yeah. It's
so right now they have to like brown bag it or just buy from concessions essentially.
Well, yeah, no, we wouldn't let that happen. We wouldn't let them have a hot dog out of the concession stand. But as much as a lot of them would like to just have a hot dog, but the nutritionist is pretty strict about what it is they have available to them.
There's performance food and there's fun food.
Yeah, they don't get much fun food when they're under our tutelage. But
hashtag save the Cubs.
Yeah, I suppose if it means hitting a lot of more home runs, then have all the hamburgers and hot dogs you want.
It's incentive.
Yeah, but for the most part, it's just getting the facility up to standards and then trying to be out ahead of it further than we need to be. You know, the presence of females in our business is much greater now. We have a female umpire in our league now, and she'll be coming through the first part of July. I have my nutritionist is a female. My video coordinator is a female. I have a female roving hitting coach that comes through once or twice a year. I have no female locker room facilities whatsoever.
Oh,
and so actually we do now. So that's one of the things that we're working on and trying to. It's part of the improvement. Is putting in proper female locker room facilities.
Makes sense.
So we have one now, and we'll have two more once the balance of next year's construction gets done.
Fascinating. I didn't even think about that. Now the timer rule, that doesn't apply to minor league, right?
Oh yeah,
it does apply.
Oh yeah.
So how is that?
We've been doing it a long time.
You have been, okay. Yeah. So how is that? Like when did you guys change that then?
2018 was the first year.
Oh wow, I had no idea.
Yeah.
Okay, shows how much I'm paying attention.
The times have adjusted some, but it's the amount of times between pitches and between innings has adjusted. But for the most part, we were the guinea pigs, as they say.
Now I remember this.
Back in 2018.
Yeah. So talk to me a little bit about the master plan, because you mentioned they want to make it this park thing. They want to do more things visually. I mean, I'm sure there are some updates and structural things that are probably a little bit more boring that most people don't care much about. Like it's one of those things you care, but you don't care. But what are some of the visual things that will change over that master plan?
Well,
like
I think
what will we see?
I think you'll see more water features on the outside of the stadium.
Gotta have a fountain.
You'll see lighting being a feature of the stadium. Graphics. I don't want to say that we're out of date, but the park is 30 years old, and so there are things that give it more of an appeal to people that aren't interested in baseball, and that's what the goal is. And having open areas that music could be played at, or we could do a downtown movie night once a week, that type of thing. And I think that's really maybe some playground equipment, kind of a playground area for families to be down there that live downtown, that the team's out of town or whatever, and they don't. They're just out walking. There'll be a playground area for people to go to. So, and then all of that will integrate with the operation of the stadium and baseball and have that kind of thing.
So it's really kind of turning it, like extending downtown to the park and kind of doing, I guess the only comparison in my head of this is like kind of like what St. Louis did with that little
very similar
village
concept
they built around the thing.
Right.
You're kind of going that direction.
Very similar concept. The Cubs did it with their area that they have out in front of Wrigley Field. Gallagher Park area is what they call it. Gallagher Way is what they call it. So that's kind of a trend with major league parks, and now the newer minor league teams that have built, the newer minor league stadiums that have been built, feature a lot of those kinds of things.
So just the last couple minutes here. Talk about this season, what you're excited about, and is like recession and inflation, is that any concern for the park at all? Do you expect increase? I don't know how the economics of baseball works. Do you expect increase in visitors because of that? Or is this going to be one of those years you have to push marketing and ensure people are there? Talk to me about this season a little bit.
Well, I think the perfect scenario for me would be to have a perfect, have the weather cooperate all 75 games.
Yeah.
Have the perfect calendar to where I'm there's ways to make the perfect calendar, but it's really rare. And I do have a pretty good calendar this year. And then to have a team that is competitive, because the calendar and the promotional calendar come together, and then the weather is a crapshoot, so you're always guessing at that. But I also don't have any control of what my team is. I don't move the players around. We don't evaluate players. The Chicago Cubs handle all that.
Yeah.
So right now, I'm in a really good situation. I've got a great team. We have a full roster of prospects. Collectively, probably the best and most talented team I've had in my 40 years of doing this.
And that's not just you saying that. I've been hearing that from other people.
No, that's, that is a fact. There are some really, really good players that will help the Chicago Cubs or somebody else in their careers. And we have at least 7 or 8 bona fide major league players that are ready to play at the big league level at any time. We got through the month of April with, I wouldn't say it was record numbers, but terrific numbers relative to we were home 15 dates and we played 13 of the 15, and it was 80 on 4 of the dates. And, we had some great Friday nights and some great Saturday nights. So I'm coming out of April with really good business, and I still have 90% of my business calendar ahead of me as far as the quality of the promotions and the dates that are left. So then the end of it is that we just need to have a little luck with the weather throughout the balance, because the promotional calendar is put together. It's a full calendar. I have the greatest staff on the planet when it comes to baseball, and they've loaded it up with lots of fun things to do and lots of opportunities for people to come to the stadium, and the group numbers are running ahead, and overall it's a pretty good scenario. So maybe my 40th year is one of those finally where I get all 3 of those components to come together.
Sam Bernabe, president and general manager of the Iowa Cubs. You and your team truly have built something incredible here in Iowa and in Des Moines, and the fans, all of us, are extremely appreciative that it's here. So I want to make that very clear. I hear good things about Cubs games all the time. My wife and I go, my family goes. It's always a fun time. If people want to go experience that for themselves, what is the website and how can they buy tickets?
www.iowacubs.com. I mean, iowacubs.com is as simple as it gets. There are all kinds of pages of information about the ball club, about the players, about the promotions going on. The mechanism to buy tickets is easy. You just got to get to our website to do it. Everything is as convenient as it can be. Again, kind of teaching the old dog new tricks. My staff is really good at all of that. And I just kind of stand back and watch and let them put all that together so that it's convenient for you and your family to be able to get to the stadium easily.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
And we do all we can to make it as easy as we can. But there are things we ask people to do. The clear bag policy. Everything we do, everything digitally as best we can. We're a cashless operation, which are some inconveniences for people that aren't used to it. But for the most part, it's a pretty easy operation to come and go out of.
Yeah, for sure. I usually Uber there, is what I do. And I have a parking spot downtown, so I just park there and walk in. It's pretty easy for me. But when I don't do that, sometimes I just Uber there and get picked up and dropped off. Works really well. Yep. Sam, thank you so much for coming on the Iowa podcast. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you.
And to my fellow Iowans, Iowa expats, and Iowans at heart, thanks for listening and subscribing to the Iowa podcast.